Hey everyone, I'm in El Dorado, Arkansas tonight, and I've been wanting to try this one for a while, and I finally got around to it. This is a Bundaberg root beer, and I have had two things from Bundaberg before. One of them was okay. It hit the spot on the flavor, but it depends if you like the flavor or not. It was a passion fruit, and the other one was really good. It's a ginger beer. This one is very similar to the ginger beer. It's this little short, stubby bottle. Just a little over 12 ounces, so it's about typical how much you'll get out of a soda anyway. You got a unique little pull tab here, kind of like the way things used to be, you know, without twist offs or straight bottle caps or anything like that. That's kind of the way things used to be, so you're gonna have that to deal with. And you can see this is an Australian product, and there's your little kangaroo on the thing. It also says invert bottle before opening, and probably because this is like a real brewed root beer, much like the ginger beer was. I got a little story here. It's kind of hard to read in the light here, and it's so small. You can see how small this writing is here. Traditionally brewed to a genuine old recipe from real sarsaparilla root, licorice root, vanilla beans, and molasses, Bundaberg root beer is an authentic taste of yesteryears. That's really hard to read. Paper label, ice chest, it doesn't mix well with this stuff. Ingredients: carbonated water, cane sugar, root beer brew, which is water, sugar, molasses, ginger root, sarsaparilla root, licorice root, vanilla bean, and yeast. That's a lot of good ingredients in this. I'm getting excited for this one. Caramel color, citric acid, preservatives, potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, antioxidant, absorbic acid, and root beer flavor. So they had to. That makes me a little weary on it right there. The last ingredient. They went and they brewed all this stuff here, all these different roots and everything like that, to add a uniqueness and to add a purity to their drink. And then, I guess at the end of it, they kind of figured that it didn't taste as much like root beer as they needed it to, so they had to add root beer flavor. That's a little disappointing. The rest of it sounds great. You're talking about molasses, sarsaparilla root, ginger root, you have vanilla. It sounds really good. A lot of it does. Well, let's see. Alright. If I remember correctly, it wasn't that hard to open these. There it goes, right there. Nothing to save, but still. I forgot to invert it, but I had inverted it before I started the video, so it should be fine. So I got my glass here. Alright. A little frothy. I've had frothier root beers than that, but that's still pretty good. Dark color too. It smells like a really strong, sweet root beer. A lot like you would get from something like a Swamp Pop or a Virgil's. Very similar to that. So I do not think there will be anything wrong with this. Even adding the little root beer flavor at the end of it, I just think that will make it taste more familiar. My first impressions of it, it's going to be really good. So let's see. That is so different. Wow, that's different. It's not bad by any means, but man, it's like trying to dissect what you're tasting here. It's so sweet, and it's a different type of sweet. It's like a real tart sweet, if that makes any sense. And it hits you in a completely different part of the mouth than you're used to anything hitting you. Like, this is like right up at the roof of your mouth. I don't know if that's the little tartness you get from like something like molasses that I'm tasting. I'm familiar with the sarsaparilla because I just did a root beer not too long ago that had something like that in it. Familiar with the ginger, familiar with the vanilla. That's gotta be molasses I'm tasting. That's gotta be. It's a really good flavor, but it's got this little twang to it. It's also, it could be some of the molasses mixed in with the yeast, because it does taste very similar to something that was brewed, like a beer or something like that. It does have that kind of, that feel to it. It's actually, it's rather thick tasting, if that makes any sense too. That's really good to me, but I don't know how much of this I can drink. You know, there's nothing wrong with it per se. I'm gonna have to just keep on drinking this to see if the flavor is gonna kind of even itself out a little bit, because that one flavor in it, this really tangy sweet, is really overpowering on the drink, and it's making me not want to finish the entire bottle. I will. I will always finish the bottles unless they're just so bad I just pour them out right after the video, like a Mountain Dew Kickstart was. But still, I will finish this bottle, and I'll probably buy one to let my wife try, because she's a big root beer fan, and she hasn't had this one, and it's really unique. I'm torn on this one. I am. That's so weird. It's so hard to describe. It's a tangy sweet that kind of hits the top of your mouth. Really hard to describe on that one. That one's got me at a loss for words a little bit. I'm trying to think what I'm going to rate it. It is good. I will give it all the credit in the world for having all these really good ingredients in it, and being fresh brewed, and having such a unique, rich flavor. But at the same time, I cannot see me drinking a whole pack of these. I think my rating's going to be buy a bottle on it. If you like root beer, you owe it to yourself to try something this unique. You're never going to have a root beer that tastes anything like this. This is so much more flavorful than anything you'll get from Virgil's or Swamp Pop or anything like that. The problem with that is it might have too much flavor. You know, it might be a little overwhelming on some of the flavors that it hits you with. And it's not a bad thing. It's bad and good. It's good to have so many good, unique flavors, and it's bad that it's too much to me. But I will say buy a bottle. I could see drinking one of these occasionally. I cannot see finishing a pack that's in my fridge. So Bundaberg root beer, buy a bottle. And if you like this video, follow me on Twitter at soda_hunter, Facebook.com/SodaHunterKevin. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, and be sure to follow the Soda Jerks on Twitter at the Soda Jerks, and check out the website, thesodajerks.net, for hundreds of more reviews just like this one. And until next time, happy hunting.